Welcome to Gray Areas for January 20th, 2026. Dave, talk real quick.
Look who followed his assignment and did things right this time. I did it.
Hey, look, he's not echoing.
You don't own one fucking piece of Suns gear?
Why would
I mean, at least you are wearing purple, but like...
No, this
not
is worse.
One?
Actually, it's worse. It's worse that he's wearing purple because it's purple and gold. It's way worse.
Oh, yeah. That's.
I have a purple and gold shirt on underneath, too.
I didn't wear
some more king shit.
I guess I need to fix that. I'll work on that. Real quick, it's episode 708. We're going to talk about the Suns, but also about basketball and my existential crisis. But keep going. I got to change shirt.
Well, it's fine. I'll hijack it with, while we talk about the Suns today and all of these happy people who have a team who's not terrible, what do you guys, it's not, I guess I live life by sports season so much, but how tough is it you don't have a team as much in other sports, or in Sean's case, doesn't give a shit. Dave, you care about ASU, so at least there's some other little bit to that. But I got to thinking about this of how quickly your season can get ruined at the start. And thankfully you guys aren't in that position. You're not into November being wow, what a miserable existence this is.
Been there before.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it nice to just have you're at the point now of the season where it's you at least have the ability to be happy through April.
Well, and it's
it has to go real wrong for you to not be enjoying things through April now.
Well, and it's funny because it's all expectations. So last year, if we were 7th in the West, we'd be oh man, really, what a bummer of a season. We are playing bad. I think we were worse than that even. But my point is the expectations were we were going to be good.
Yeah.
So 7th's terrible. When your expectation is you're going to be ass, then, this season's been great. You kind of just take the losses in stride and you celebrate the wins that shouldn't be there. And
there's a weird, there's a weird sweet spot in sports fandom. As a Dodger fan, I don't go into the season very excited anymore, other than I hope we don't fucking embarrass ourselves and fail in the wild card round. You have the expectation of full on championship.
Didn't you just win a World Series?
Yeah. You go into it being the only, the worst case scenario, the worst best case scenario is make the World Series and lose. The enjoyment of game in and game out is tough because it's the expectation is they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh, I see.
When you guys got to the point of title contender, you're talking about expectations, and the expectation in the season is you come in excited for it to start, but then you're mostly just nervous something's going to go wrong for the first 3 quarters of the year until you get near the playoffs.
I'm almost learning the season exists for teams like us now.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly what I was getting
If I'm
at.
OKC, I'm actually probably not enjoying it's cool to win, but you're nothing matters unless we win the title.
Can we fast forward? Yeah, exactly.
It's this all matters because we're building to the point.
Yes.
So the season matters for people building to get to the point where it doesn't matter, which I guess kind of is a shitty sentence to say.
But it's true though. You're in the sweet spot right now of exceeding expectations, and then being able to look forward in a pretty excited way of oh shit, you might just get a playoff berth. You might not even have to go to the play-in tournament, and that actually in the moment is more fun. Obviously, it's you want to win a championship, and that would be the ultimate goal. But you're in a weird sweet spot right now where it's this is not quite maximum enjoyment, but it's the longest version of enjoyment you're going to get for a season.
Well, so we've amped for... Oh, wait. What were you going to say, Dave?
Oh, I was just saying the maximum possible enjoyment is an Indiana college football fan right now, because that's I never saw this coming. And oh my God, we're this dominant. That's the because you don't have any expectations, and then you go kick everybody's ass. I was like that a little bit with ASU football last year, where I'm oh my God, I can't believe we're here. But college football also can ruin you in the sense of they have oh my God, I have so much excitement for this season, then you lose the first game and the whole season's over.
Yes.
So, or even in my case of ASU this past year, we're oh, we only beat NEU by 3 touchdowns. God, we're not going to do what I hoped we did this year, even though we won.
And you still would have been better if your quarterback and receiver didn't get hurt off and on all year. You just wouldn't have been as good.
Too much about college football and way too much about ASU.
But his point is very good in terms of
I know the point.
Pointing out Indiana.
I also don't know if it's strictly about journey and destination. I think you're right overall about expectations affecting it, but I enjoyed the Suns 6-4-18 season. Yeah. Not the way it ended.
Sure did.
But the regular season was fun, and not just because they won a lot, but because it was an attractive style of basketball. Same thing with the Steve Nash era. 7 seconds or less was enjoyable almost all of those seasons. Mm-hmm. And then also the playoffs then ramped up expectations. Was it a little bit boring compared to the expectation of all right, it's year 4 of the Suns in Steve Nash's era, and we haven't done the Shaq trade yet. So it's okay, we're starting to want them to get over the hump. But overall, the journey there was fine.
Yeah.
We've also had teams that have won 55 plus that were absolutely miserable to watch.
Uh-huh.
So it isn't. There are multiple factors to it. It's not just like, okay, we can skip the regular season. That's boring now. Because I think if you're doing that, we're doing too much of the same idea as like the ring chasing, where it's
That's
like
what I'm saying.
nothing else matters except the one team that wins the title. It's like, well, then we're really rendering 82 games to be really useless.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
The Suns are as of sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Oh, I said this Suns team is actually fun. I was going to segue to the fact of like we don't have a ton of expectations. We're getting slightly more expectations, especially when we play bad teams. It's kind of amazing that we beat every bad team we play.
Yeah, so let's break it down a little bit. So we said we were going to do a Suns cast. We're going to catch up on the team. When we started the year, we did our season preview. We were rightfully pessimistic on the win totals. I think none of us technically did 40 wins even. So that's bad. And that was like, I was like bright siding it with, maybe 41, but honestly, probably like 39. And, maybe they still get that, but they are on pace much better. And we're more than halfway through the season, right? So like, it's not just like, oh, we started the first 10 games hot. It's like there are trends emerging. There are some stats that I'm sure we'll talk about that are meaningful. Defense being one of them. So we kind of know who the team is. And although also we don't, because one of our best players has barely played. So theoretically, we have a reason to be even more optimistic for the second half of the season.
We are 27-17 as of tonight's victory over the Sixers, which the team tried desperately to throw away in the final minute. It never got closer than 6, I don't think, but it sure felt tenuous when there was multiple turnovers and they couldn't break a press, and the Sixers missed 3 shots, 2 of them wide open, that would have made it, I think, a one-possession game. Regardless, a win on a back-to-back against 2 teams that are but still, you take road wins over back-to-back wins over back-to-backs, stuff like that. So
that's a 50-win pace right now.
It is. Yeah. So we are just past the halfway point. That would be 41 games, 27-17, 10 games over 500, which is the best of the season so far. It's the most we've been over 500. I do have some stats to pull up eventually, and we can talk about individual players. And then once we talk about the Sun-specific part of this, I have some questions for the group because I don't think I understand basketball anymore.
Well, I also want to point out 50 win pace. I am pretty sure we have already completed the most brutal part of the whole schedule too. So
yes, we have. I just saw a stat. We have 16 of our next 19 at home.
Yes.
So we have a stretch here where we can do some damage because we don't have to leave Phoenix, basically.
And there's some good teams in there. The 3 road games are not very scary. I mean, the Spurs are one of them, but we've already beaten them. And then it's like the Kings and somebody else with Portland, who's okay. So it's a softer stretch of the schedule. And insofar as it can be in the NBA, this is probably something else that will come up later, but like there's not exactly a lot of easy outs in the NBA. I'd say there's 5 right now. Teams that are pretty much trying to lose or very much trying to lose. But, especially in the West, a 50-win pace is pretty good. We've, missed the playoffs on 48 wins before, but still, like that would be remarkable considering that some predictions had us winning fewer games than we currently have right now.
Oh, yeah. Every time, every game now that we're past 20, I was like, Maisie, I just want you to know, some people had us, this was the total. Now, there was the most pessimistic, but I saw it. It existed. So
yeah, I mean, the idea that you guys weren't going to beat, Chris, I think said there were some over-unders like in the 20, like the high 20s, 27 or something like that. I don't know. That felt a little much.
Well, and again,
look,
after
we were all
the
pessimistic.
preseason.
I was in the low 30s, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't
which
remember
is
what
fine.
my exact prediction was. But, we're 7 wins away from low 30. We're 3 wins away from 30s right now.
I think you were 35 or 36. There was about an equal distance between the 3 of us. I was on 31, and that still was not as bad as the Vegas over-under or several other prediction sites. So, like, even I was the most pessimistic.
I'll throw this other really quick for you, because I think you're at 27 now, you said, Chris. So you're 3.5 from the consensus over-under was 30.5, according to Basketball Reference. You and the Jazz, who came in tonight 4.5 under theirs, are the 2 closest teams to already fulfilling their over/under.
Yeah,
and getting over. There's a couple teams that are way off their pace.
Yeah.
And are clearly gonna go under. But you're basically already one of 2 or 3 teams clearly outperforming where you were expected to be anywhere near coming into the season.
Exactly. Maisie, too. According to experts, we have to lose every game of the season.
Yeah, just got to
which could happen.
39. Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't think it will. Well, and so what's funny, though, is I think I feel good saying I thought we were going to win a higher amount of games than expected because of our defense. And our defense has been good. We have anywhere between, it's a top 10 defense, whether it's quite top 5 or not. I think it can change. It's a really, really good defense. I was telling Maisie, I don't know the last time the Suns could really hang their hat on defense. Like, I think sometimes that like in the Steve Nash era, if they were like top 15, you'd be like, wow, amazing, like for that team. But like, we lock people down now. We get a ton of steals. It's crazy.
Yeah. We force turnovers. The 2022 team, the 21-22 team that was the 64-18 that Chris mentioned earlier, I believe was very good defensively as well. They didn't feel as good defensively as this team does, which metrics, defensive metrics can always be a little skewy sometimes. But in this case, this team, like you said, they force turnovers, which makes getting live ball turnovers is a huge deal. And this team just has this like rugged feel to it more so than previous iterations do.
Which
isn't always a great thing.
We foul on purpose, and we live with the consequences. And sometimes we get fucking railed in terms of other teams' free throws, and other times it kind of pays off. I think the OKC game, I think we honestly probably got away, and I don't mind it because that team fucking hunts for fouls all the time anyway. But that was a game that I look at and I'm like, that's where the ruggedness pays off. They allowed us to be a little bit in their face, made them uncomfortable. And I like the Suns making another team uncomfortable with physicality is like a sentence I never thought I would say.
So
I always the other way around.
I have some numbers I have pulled up, and we'll look at them, looking at some of the reasons why the team has been successful. I didn't pull this one up in advance, but relative defensive rating is a stat that Basketball Reference tracks, and you can see it pretty easily year over year. The season that Dave mentioned, 21-22, we were 4.7 points of defensive rating better than the average across the league, which was by far the best of the past 25 seasons. You have to go back to 2000, 2001 to find a better number than that. Last year, it was the opposite of that. It was 4.8 worse than the relative defensive rating. That's the worst of any Suns team since, I'm scrolling, the first season it existed.
Great. That's good.
There was an 18-19 and 17-18, but we fucking sucked then. So, like, of course we were bad. This year's a minus 2.3. That is the second best total of the past 25 years.
Okay.
Not quite as good as that team, but that team was also historically dominant. It won 64 games, so I wouldn't expect it to be there because it's not just about pure defense. It's also relative to other factors. But the point being, we have not seen this level of defense for the Phoenix Suns in basically 25 years.
Yeah. And it feels that way. And I'm making a very, very long point in the sense that I'm saying the defense, I thought it was going to be good. I don't know if I thought it was going to be this good, but I thought that's where we would hang our hats. It's where the hustle and the defense, we were going to make up a lot of games. It is the offense that I don't understand quite why we're so good because we all thought, where's the offense going to come from? Devin Booker, he's going to have to just be the engine. He's going to have to kill himself every night, and he is the engine. But Jordan Ott, I think, deserves a lot of credit. The system deserves a lot of credit. And just, frankly, players playing above where we thought they would. And that really comes in the three-point shooting, which has been insane. At the clip that we're taking them and the rate that we're making them, completely taken me by surprise.
I have 3 names. You said, how was the offense this good? 3 names, really. I mean, I'm going to go in my order of least important to most important out of these 3 names. One, the least important of those 3 is Colin Gillespie. Just surprising and being that, like, oh, man, shoot, we do have to worry about him. Like, oh, God, like, we can't leave him open. He'll handle the ball, make some good passes, run offense decently well. Second one for me is Dylan Brooks because I didn't think he could shoot this well. Like, his shot form is ugly as sin. I hate watching him shoot, But when he's taking shots, ISO shots with hand in his face and hitting threes, big threes near the end of game to give us to get our lead back up to 5 or so, he's been really, really good offensively and along with being defensively. But the number one person is Jordan Ott, because you can just see the difference where the lack of relative talent we have on this team versus last year's team and what Ott is able to do is just mind-blowing to me.
Look, Royce O'Neal deserves a ton of credit. He's been high volume, high accuracy, doesn't always make the right play, but like really has proven. Last year, everyone was like, trade him. And this year, I'm like, I don't think you do. Like, unless people are like, trade him for a bag of chips, trade him for anything. And now I'm like, unless you can get like a star player, which, you know, don't do that. The best you could hope for is someone who shoots like Royce O'Neal.
We have Royce O'Neal at home.
Yeah. Grayson Allen to me is like my X factor. I've said it before. I think he's huge in both shot percentage, putting pressure on the defense, both from like deep three, spreading the floor, but also like putting pressure on the rim. He drives it. He handles the ball. He's been really huge for us. I mean, Jordan Ott, I mean, the system, and everybody's bought in tonight. You know, Jalen Green in 14 minutes had 3 assists. That's a record for him. No, I don't know if that's true, but it's a lot. And just like everybody, it's infectious. Moving the ball and getting those looks and playing as a team. The team actually seems to like each other. Maybe that's another X factor.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing interviews together. They seem to have great camaraderie. Now, based on that, it turns out last season, as we kind of suspected, the camaraderie was not as bad as we were led to believe from the media. They were kind of like, they're saying we're fighting in the locker room. Who's fighting? Like, where's that? But I mean, it was the chemistry was nowhere near where it is now.
Say, you don't have to be fighting and like fist fighting in the locker room to be like, I don't really like coming to work with these people.
Yeah,
like there's a big because sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no, there's just even a difference of not like coming to working with people and just, this just doesn't fit. Like, you can like someone and just not work with them well, you know, even if you like them as a person.
I mean, this is the whole point of when people build these teams of the NBA, where it's like, let's just go get a star and plug them in and talent will work, blah, blah, blah. You guys are seemingly in a position now where your peak with this roster probably can't be a title, but where you're at is competitive, fun team. Then teams get antsy because they're like 3 years, 2 years of being competitive, fun team. They're like, all right, but when are we going to take the next step? And then you fuck with the chemistry, and then it either works because the talent is really good for a year or two, or it tanks immediately and you go to shit because everyone hates each other and didn't want those guys. It's a really weird, delicate balance of just vibes.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the NBA and basketball players, I mean, it might be nitpicking, but it's the smallest group of guys that hang out together in professional sports. It by far. I mean, hockey is mid-20s with an active roster of the high teens. Baseball is 26 and the football's 50. And the vibes have to be more important in that sense, because one bad apple person is 10% of the roster all of a sudden, and that vibe must just be weird when it's not going right when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, Clippers told Chris Paul to stay home because of
you're fucking right.
And that took off.
Now, I don't know how well it's worked for them, but
no.
I don't know if it's that specifically, but they've been really good since that point.
You're right. It's interesting. All of a sudden, they turned around a little bit. But you're right. Like that has to factor for something, and that has to factor from coaching too, not just the players. And you guys are in a position now with someone who I don't know how NBA players' brains work, and I don't know how adults who are like being coached by someone's brains work. I haven't been coached by anyone since I was like a teenager. But when you have two retread coaches who like their message might have gotten stale, or that you've seen what they've done in the NBA before, and also you have a new voice who's leading a team for the very first time. I'm not saying it's foolproof that every first time a head coach is gonna be fucking good. That would be idiotic. But I have always wondered like the whole, oh yeah, like you were coaching the Lakers last year and now you're coaching us, or shit like that.
Yeah.
I've always wondered if that vibe is just off or weird at times when it's like, we already know what you're about. Like, guys in the league talk. Like, do I really want to play for you? I don't know. It's a weird vibe.
That's part of my confusion, though.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that shortly, but I'll dip into it a little bit here in the sense that, like, we had 1 year rentals or whatever for both Frank Vogel and Mike Budenholzer. And they went very different directions with very similar rosters. And Frank Vogel had just won a championship with the Lakers, 3 seasons before he came to the Suns? It was kind of remarkable how quickly they turned on him, even though they didn't bring back some core elements of the team that won that title in the first place. So it felt like he took some blame there he shouldn't have. So, like, the defense was pretty much fine under Frank Vogel, which was what he hung his hat on. It was, I think, 14th in defensive rating that season, and they were pretty good. Was the personnel ever going to be an elite defense? No. So I think he got the most out of them on that side of the ball. On offense, you had some stars that could carry. And then we went to 28th in defensive rating last year under Budenholzer, who was more of an offensive coach, but our offense also sucked.
Uh-huh.
Now, obviously, it doesn't just come down to a coach or a system. It's all about fit and flow, which is kind of what you guys have been talking about. But the thing that we talked about going into the season was that we were relatively hamstrung as far as options. We could not really overhaul the roster in a significant way other than the Kevin Durant trade and a couple of moves around the margins. But a lot of these players were on the team last year. Grayson Allen was on the team last year. Royce O'Neal was on the team last year. Jordan Goodwin was on the team 2 years ago and didn't look like this at all, but then all of a sudden looked better with the Lakers last year, and then now looks even better for us. He's exactly the same player he always has been, a guy who plays hard-nosed defense, crashes the offensive glass. So is it just a matter of him being used properly? I don't know. Like Ryan Dunn, Oso, like all these guys were on the team last year. So is it really just odd in his defensive system? I guess you can make the case just because of how disparate the years were between Vogel and Budenholzer. Because that was, again, like turning Yusuf Nurkic into a three-point shooter and a guy attacking at the point of attack is much worse than having him in drop coverage where he's been successful more in his career. So I guess there's something to be said for a new voice coming in, but I'm still baffled that the turnaround has been this drastic.
Well, and that's why...
Was Budenholzer just that fucking bad and your defense should have been like 20th and not 28th
Was he
year?
carried by Giannis? Was Phil Jackson carried by Jordan or Kobe and Shaq? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off, Sean.
No. And I think, honestly, I still do think Beal, I think, kind of was locker room poison. I think Durant...
I think everyone in the league has to know what they're getting when you're his teammate,
that was the thing.
right?
Like, Durant was Durant. So, like, was he this team guy who would sacrifice himself and do whatever? No. He was going to do his thing, but, like, I don't think at the time he was talking bad. I don't think he was getting in fights with the coach. I think it was just like, I don't really care. I'm going to do my thing. Yeah. And maybe that's telling him short. I think I like Durant the least out of the four of us. But, you remove those elements, and Booker... Yeah, I don't know if he's getting enough credit this season, and based on the All-Star voting, it sounds like he's not.
No.
I think he's sacrificing his numbers a bit, while also, like, he is the one that can make this whole thing run. And, we're not so bad to where, like, when he's gone, we're just for sure going to lose. But, like, he's the stabilizer. He gets the offense going. He's always it bothers me so much. So often the fans are like, oh, back to hero ball. It's like, you motherfuckers. There's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. We pass it back to Booker. And, like, what do you want him to do? That's kind of why you have a star on your team, is to help bail you out.
Yeah. Well, now, if all else fails in the situation, thank God you have someone who's that talented naturally to be able to lean on. But if the hero ball is sitting there, with 20 seconds on the shot clock, dribbling around, not really engaging anybody else, I'll fall on the sword and take the last second shot.
They want to act like he's Michael Porter Jr. over here, and I'm just like, his assists, the way he he must lead the league in like hockey assists. Like he is the fulcrum of the entire offense, and I wish he got a little more credit for that. But it's not flashy stats.
There was a game last week that the Suns, I think it was the Wizards game that we watched together last week. Booker finished with like 14, 7, and 9 or something like that. Because he didn't play half the third and fourth quarter. Like, he didn't play half of the third and the entire fourth quarter. And we were up by so much that it's like, whatever, don't. Like, 14, 7, and 9 is not anything that's going to get you all-star votes. But he basically said after the first quarter was over, it was a close game. We're like, okay, we're going to win this game. And deferred to teammates, passed well, had a fantastic game for a 14, 7, and 9 line. Like, I thought he was phenomenal in that game for not a great stats.
I like to think Booker is like, if I go nuclear, we can maybe win some games. But the key to our success is going to be getting my teammates all playing pretty well.
Your long-term sustained success. Well, again, that goes back to the vibe. You guys are talking about guys who were on the roster last year, 2 years ago, and they look way better or different. It's like, well, if they're being empowered by the only one true star left on the team, again, shit, if you're like 25 years old and like you got some confidence there's some confidence in like of the star of the team in you, that's gonna go a long way. I'm sorry, like I get we get into like momentum and like mentality and all that stuff. It does or doesn't exist in sports. just feeling like you're not going to get shit on if you do something wrong or right by the voice of the team. And when there's 3 or 4 of those voices as opposed to one, you're that much more nervous to try and do shit.
You reminded me, Jordan Goodwin referenced Jordan Ott saying like he's, I feel so confident with him. He's empowered me. He said, I'll be dribbling down the court and he'll just be like, pull it. Mm-hmm. He'll be like whispering to me to pull it. And he's like, I've never had a coach do that. And I love it. So that's great, but the players have bought into the coach's vision, and you can see that with the amount of 3-pointers that we're taking. We're like close to 40 a game or something. It's insane. If Durant was on the team, we've seen it. He's just like, I'm going to take the threes that I want to take. I'm not going to take any more or any less than you want. I'm going to do my thing. And he just, it's just hard for this overall vision.
I mean, the bizarre thing is when you lock yourself into a roster like that, that's who's getting the shots, that's who's getting the game, the free, the time, shooting, playing, whatever. Until a guy goes down, and then you're like, oh shit, well now someone has to fill it. That's the only time some of these guys have opportunities to fucking play on these star-laden teams.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you have to wait for someone to get hurt. And it's like, that's how you discover random guys. The fucking Lakers do it on their bench seemingly constantly. It's like, oh shit, this guy could actually kind of play a little bit. Who knew? Well, yeah, who the fuck knew? Because you don't play them any minutes. At least competitive real minutes. And so I feel like that just opens the door for guys.
Or they don't get opportunities when they are on the floor because all the scoring's done.
You're the 5th guy and everyone else is chucking shit up. And so to go in, you talk about low fan expectations or lowered fan expectations. Yeah, doesn't that go a long way for the roster as well? You have a coach who's like, well, my job's on the line this year. Ott's not going to get fired. You guys won 15 games. I don't think Ott was going to get fired after 1 year with the roster he has and all that shit.
Right.
He's probably bulletproof a little bit for a year. So, yeah, when he's telling guys to go down the court and be like, yeah, pull it and shoot it, well, he has the fucking freedom to do it because he's not coaching for his job and he's not having to defer to fucking 4 superstars who are being dicks about it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I know I'm overly simplifying it, and I know that like those type of rosters have a peak, but you also then get to live within it and then go from there. What the fuck to do next? Which is a lot better than the alternative of you guys have no cap space and you suck and you have no picks.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's dive into the numbers a bit because I collected some, and we'll see if we can use this to explain some of what's happening because you can. It's not like this is a total statistical anomaly that doesn't make any sense. It's just more so. Year over year is the part that I'm confused by. The Suns are, well, after tonight, now 8th in win percentage. They will have leapfrogged the Lakers. I don't know if the Lakers play tonight, but 27 and 17.
The Suns have leapfrogged them, yes.
Yeah, I've refreshed this. It hasn't updated. I don't think they do it until the end of the night on NBA.com, but whatever. They haven't. It was 116, 110 tonight, so the numbers aren't going to move much. And so that's great. I mean, the fact that they could have the 8th best win percentage at any point of the season, let alone past the halfway point, is mind-boggling because we would not have picked that going into the season.
So we're 6th in the West and 8th overall.
That is correct.
Yeah, which goes to show you.
Have you not looked at the NBA standings
it's lately?
Bad. Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad.
Especially because the Knicks fell off a cliff. They're 2-9 in their last 11, so they were above, but they're not anymore, and they're falling apart. There's been rumors all over the place today about them. We'll talk about them in a minute too. But some of the stuff we've alluded to is here. The Suns are taking 43s a game, for example. That is 7th best in the league, and way ahead of last year when I think they were 27th. And that shot diet is not just chucking, it's the byproduct of actually like getting some 4-on-3 situations and using them to our advantage instead of just passing the ball around the perimeter. So I know that that's one reason why we've improved. They're also, I think, 2nd in steals. Yes. And I don't think they had like an abnormal amount tonight. So they're probably still 2nd behind Detroit, who's been very, very good defensively, and Oklahoma City, who's been very, very good defensively. We're in that same category. And along those lines, offensive rebounds, the Suns are 5th.
Whoa, that's surprising, actually.
They are crashing the glass with intensity, which makes up for the fact that they're, I think, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding because it's a small lineup. This team frequently starts like Royce O'Neal at the 4, who's a capable defender against guys in the post, but certainly not a very good rebounder, and there's not really a rebounder that sticks out at other positions. It's just rebounded by committee, and guys like Goodwin and Mark Williams and others are crashing the glass hard on offense and getting extra possessions that way. Those are coming down to effort. Offensive rebounds and steals are effort that this team didn't have. So on that level, I understand it. But there's also stuff in here, like we're very middle of the road in a lot of other stats. Just regular field goal percentage, partly a byproduct of taking more threes, but still like middle of the road. Blocked shots, bottom 10. Like there's some stuff here where you're like, it makes sense, but like how is it this successful? But the numbers bear out, like the Pythagoras stuff that suggests how many wins we should have based on our stats, our win differential, whatever. says this team is right about where it's supposed to be. It's not like it's a fluke. So I'm trying to wrap my head around like how we got there. Defensive rating. Suns are 6th, probably going to move back to 4th or 5th after tonight. And there's a very small spread, as you can see here, between 3rd and 10th, or 4th and 10th. Like, they could jump and fall at a heartbeat here. The Warriors are probably about to fall because Jimmy Butler's out for the year.
Yep.
So, like, there's stuff there that would make sense. Again, like, offensive rebound percentage, same idea, 5th. The Suns are. That's great. They're doing well as far as, like, not just steals, but then points off turnovers. They're converting those steals. They're not just getting them. They're making use of them. The pace is still bottom 10. It's not last like it was in the Chris Paul years, but like it's not like the Suns are running people out of the gym.
I think we thought they might, and they're not, so that's interesting.
21st. And that's fine. It does feel like they don't look to get out in transition a ton other than the steals. They're not like pushing it out off of like made baskets and stuff. And then finally, these also kind of reinforce what we talked about, but points off turnovers, the Suns are 3rd. Oklahoma City's number 1. It's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Second chance points, the Suns are also 7th. So they're stealing literally and figuratively a lot of possessions that they wouldn't otherwise get to make up for the fact that they're undersized defensively. They give up a decent amount of points in the paint per game. Like, they're counterbalancing their shortcomings in ways that make a lot of sense. And that's not what the case was the past couple of years. That, to me, I think is the biggest difference.
Well, again, doesn't that come down to coaching in the sense of like, hey, I know the roster that I've got and I know what we can excel at, and getting the max out of your personnel versus playing fast and random like a certain previous coach that we had.
There's also effort there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that's a lot of effort from maybe younger, less talented players who gotta fucking do something to make sure they get to play in the NBA.
And I am not getting ahead of myself. I promise. I'm just saying those are the stats that when you're building a culture, those other than the shooting, those are the ones that tend to bear out over like that make successful playoff runs. Energy, defense, a slower pace, honestly, because the paces usually slow down. Things get kind of like you're kind of trudging through the mud. That always in the Steve Nash years, it was like, oh, we're fast paced and we get to playoffs and everything slows down and now we're not as effective. So like these are sets that are going to help us in the long run. I don't know playoffs. I don't know what that looks like this year. I don't even want to really think about it yet, but like that's the type of culture that I think is really good that we're instituting now. Dylan,
you're right. It's the type of.
I think actually, Dave, what were you going to say really quick?
Oh, it's just you're exactly right. It's the type of stuff that wins scrappy, hard games where it comes down to the wire in the playoffs, because like you said, we've seen it before where if you have just this high flying offense that's all about quick transition buckets and you don't have a half court offense, it just doesn't work in the playoffs. And so it's nice to see these effort things coming through because it's so important at that time of year.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think Dillon Brooks, while taking a little bit more credit than he deserves for the team's turnaround, I think it's rather Jordan has a system and a vision for the team, and Dillon Brooks just fits it perfectly rather than he's the catalyst for everything. I don't necessarily think that – I don't think we would be as good as we are if he needed to be the catalyst for all of it. I think it's a full team buy-in. But what a great person to fill this role that we now need.
He raises the floor as far as a culture standpoint, and we saw that before with Kelly Oubre. So it's not uncommon for one or two players to come in and flip that script. I just wonder how it's going to work with him and Jalen Green together. And we've seen, I think, 14 minutes of that so far this season because Green just came back tonight after playing 37 minutes prior to this. So that's going to be a work in progress because I don't know that you want both of them taking 15-plus shots a night. But it's too early to start worrying about that. We don't even know what it's going to look like. To me, the interesting part is getting the best out of people's shot diets. I mean, we talked about some of this to a lesser extent earlier, but Grayson Allen's taking 13 shots a game, 9 of them are threes. Royce O'Neal's taking 8.5 shots a game, 7 of them are threes. Colin Gillespie's taking 10.5 shots a game, 7 of them are threes. So they're really forcing defenses to have to scramble, not even just out to the three-point line, but in the case of like Grayson and Gillespie in particular, and Royce, all three, they're taking 30-footers sometimes, and they're not bad shots. And that's making the defense have to stretch that much further when they're already scrambling from doubling Devin Booker. So that part of it also makes sense to me. But then I also think, like, what happened last year? Was Bud just using Grayson Allen that poorly? How do you poorly use a sharpshooter three-point guy? because he led the league in 3-point percentage 2 years ago. Last year he sucked. Maybe because he bulked up too much. Maybe because Bud was an idiot. And this year he looks great again when he's healthy. He's missed 2 stretches. But so that's the part I have a hard time drilling into. I also think of Yuta Watanabe, who was garbage for us. But it can't just because like Kevin Durant was overbearing, because he had his best season in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant 2 years before that. So was it just the way he was used in the system? This is the stuff where I'm like, again, Jordan Goodwin, another example. Like, how is it that even specific players coming back to similar but different situations can look so different? And that's the part I haven't figured out.
And the thing that I don't regret not knowing, like, I think we made the right call, but like, would Durant have... I don't think we even used Kevin Durant. Speaking of people we're not using well, like we didn't use him that well either. And it's like, would he have been open to an aught system? Maybe, like, we can't say. But if he bought in and we're actually utilizing him the way that he is more effective, you know, who knows? But yeah, I did want to say, you brought up all the 3-point shooting. Devin Booker, I think, is 5th in free throw attempts this year. So we have somebody also with all that space is really putting pressure on the rim too, and it makes a really great dynamic. I think Jalen Green will help with that. As long as he isn't too happy with like the mid range. He's kind of less effective on the inside, even though he will drive it. He's kind of a sharpshooter himself. But we'll see.
I think 2 things stand out to me here, by the way. One is that Devin Booker is shooting 30% from 3 this season. This is not a small sample size anymore. He's been known to have like a month of off shooting. He's getting a good diet of looks when you look at how many open and wide open looks he's getting. That's not the issue. So you feel like that should improve in the second half to a certain extent. It's probably 31%. He went 2 for 5 tonight. Point being, like, he's had a struggle from just deep in a way that other people haven't. And look at that steals column. Booker's effectively averaging a steal per game. You can throw out Jalen Green because he's played 2 games. The averages don't matter. But even if you throw out Green, all top 9 rotation guys are averaging a steal a game. It's not just like a couple ball hounds like Russell Westbrook in his prime or something who are getting 3 or 4 a game. It's a team effort, and everybody's being active and engaged in the passing lanes in particular. So that is one reason why it's working. And the aggressive defense has led to a lot of fouls, like Sean mentioned early. But you trade that off because you take the Oklahoma City approach and you go, well, they can't call everything. So let's see what we can get away with. And on a given night, it might be more than other times.
Yeah, and I just think, like, when you look at Booker, not everything, like, it is a correlation, and I don't know, but, like, he's the steals show he's really active on and the eye test, right? He's very active on defense. He's bringing the ball up. He's getting the offense initiated. So you would think it's more taxing, and kind of the first thing to go is the long ball when you're a little tired. So, like, is he sacrificing maybe some percentage points to be an all-around better player? Perhaps. But I think you live with that at the same time. If his 3-point percentage drops a little bit, but the success of his teammates and our defense and everything else, we're building this DNA, like, you live with that.
But also that can change into you sacrifice that in the beginning so that in the end they can shine through, and then you don't have to go nuclear, as we talked about before, where they have that confidence, which is the exact opposite of what previous teams have done. You know, you build that confidence and let them run it, and have Colin Gillespie win a game against Minnesota early in the season. Like, those types of things where they feel like the teammates are empowered to do it, so you don't have to be the only one. It's a long-term strategy.
You know what else is confusing to me, though, as I try and sort through why this works and what does and what doesn't? I used to think that continuity was really important, and I still do, to be clear. Like, the Nuggets are confusing this year because they've been missing almost everybody except for Jamal Murray for a good chunk of the season. Their surrounding cast we thought was better coming into the season. I picked them to win the title, but they've shockingly performed at a better win percentage clip without Jokic than with him when he's missed significant time. The Knicks are returning basically their top 8 and the same starting 5, and went from Thibodeau to Mike Brown, which I think is a downgrade, but you could say, well, Thibodeau's voice was great and he lost the locker room. They're a disaster the last 11 games, like we talked about. So their continuity isn't helping at all. If anything, it's almost like it's overstayed its welcome, and now people are turning on each other.
I mean, they also have he's a shitty coach, but
I think so. And there's so much drama there. It's strange to me because it's like, you guys are a contender. At least you were purported to be coming into the season, and you didn't even make it 40 games without fucking turning on each other. And I guess it goes to show you that just like the chemistry that we had last year with Durant and Beal, that it can change quickly. And as Cody said, one or two either things or players can derail an entire season before you know it.
Again, I don't. We don't need to get into the Knicks moves, but that was bizarre. I don't know what Mike Brown has shown for however long now.
Yeah,
but whatever. It's like we don't have to get into that. It's just, it's funny that to Chris's point, one or two people. Well, guess what? Maybe if you're gonna bring in a really shitty coach, it just again. You guys talked about it with Vogel to Bud. Like, if Vogel had been retained, what do you look like in the next year after that of him getting a second year? Would it actually really be that bad? Probably not as bad as it was.
Not as bad as it was. I still think under expectations, and I think that's just, I don't know, that team, those players together just wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And you can't even, in some ways, I blame Durant, but in other ways, like he's now at Houston, he's having a solid year.
But he's doing exactly what you think he should be doing. He's doing basically exactly what he did here, where he's getting his shots, he's playing his game, he's getting similar averages. I've even seen, this is not all end all be all, but I've seen things on social media where like, hey guys, if Houston's going on a losing streak, you can't blame Durant. He's doing XYZ. It's like, seen this story before.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, Kevin Durant's averaging like 27, 7, and 5. That's so weird. I never wow, he's never done that for his entire career.
Mm-hmm. It's so, I mean, yeah, he's doing what he's doing, but how long is that going to last again with Houston? Is that the right thing that's going to get them success in Houston? I think speaking of expectations, Houston's probably a little disappointed in where they are right now. They didn't expect to be tied with us for 5th place in the West. Right now.
I think you're absolutely right.
Like so, and where they are right now, they're just don't have those, since their expectations were higher, they're disappointed. And it seems to be a trend with with players like Durant or players that kind of just do their own thing without buying into a team, which comes all back every single time for me to Devin Booker, how much of a basketball chameleon he is, where he will just do whatever is necessary. And I cannot appreciate that enough. And I know the vast majority of basketball fans do not appreciate that enough.
Yeah.
No. I mean, again, they want him to be,
well, they want to be Anthony Edwards. The amount of times I see Anthony Edwards is an unquestionable best shooting guard in the league, I'm like, is he? Like
if you need raw, points, maybe but that's, I think what not to put us on the pedestal, but like a casual fan, they're like, yeah, get those points, get the flashy dunks and the whatever. It's like, yeah, but like, who's going to put it all on the line for the team's success? And we saw him do it on the Olympic team. That was not a fluke that he was the glue guy on the Olympic team with all those players and all those egos. So it doesn't surprise me that he's able to do that with us too.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I can say.
It's been refreshing as much as it's been fun for me.
Well, I can't tell you, so Maisie and I go to the games, and what a difference it's been. Even when we go down, most of the time, I can think of one big exception. We fight back and we make a game out of it. We were at so many games last year. We go down in the first quarter. It's like, well, Maisie, it's going to be a long game. And it always was. It was always like, well, we've cut it to 14. And it's like, it was bad. Now, or there would be some games we'd go up and I would tell Kevin, he'd be excited. I'd be like, don't worry. 5 minutes in the third quarter after half, they're going to be right back in it. And they were every time. Like we couldn't hold on to a lead. And if we went down, we were never coming back. What a different blueprint this year. Just the fight. It is exactly, whoever said the word refreshing, it is absolutely refreshing. Yes. Chris, great.
Up there.
Hello. And, I get confused sometimes when I think about the overall quality of play in the NBA. And Sean talked about this in a text the other night. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, even going back to when we sucked in the late 2010s. We were still winning 20, 25 games. And it's like at the same time, there's like both a ton of talent disparity in the NBA and not a lot, because these are still the top 0.001% of athletes. So I guess it makes sense. But like, other than the teams that are trying to lose, which we can see here in the West, the Jazz, the Kings, the Pelicans are all clearly tanking for a deep draft class. Like, how has Memphis won 18 games this year? Memphis has been a disaster. They lost Bane. John Morant's been all over the place. They'll probably trade him for nothing, just like Trae Young a couple weeks ago. They're at 5 games under 500, and they're out of the play-in right now because of the Clippers surge. But, like, do they have any business even being 5 games under 500? It feels like that could be a lot worse. But that's another team that kind of plays hard every night, and, like, you just can't take teams for granted in the NBA anymore because, like, even the tanking teams that are trying to lose, the Pelicans, the Kings, and the Jazz, they have double-digit wins.
Yeah.
The Jazz have some talent now, and they said they weren't going to tank. They clearly lied about that. Like, Danny Ainge's son is as big of a liar as he is. But, like, they've still won 14 games, and they've sat a bunch of guys on half these nights. Like, nobody can take these teams for granted just because the three-point shot. I don't know. But to your point, like, we're 10 games above 500 in a landmine schedule with some of our guys out a decent amount of games. I think I'm finally starting to feel optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like it's been perfect where Booker, he's been hurt for a stretch. Obviously, Jalen Green, that's a big one. If we had done, here's what I would say, with all the win totals that Vegas had, what if you had said, well, Jalen Green's going to miss like 35 games or however many it's been?
You're probably like 25.
You'd be like, oh, well, yeah, 20, 25. Like,
it's got to be because it's when it's a key part of your return for Durant. Like, it had to be a pretty low gas.
When essentially for half the season, you're trading Dylan Brooks for Kevin Durant.
Yes.
And you're like, all
almost
right, go.
1-for-1 in terms of like the yeah, you're right.
And yet
it's been more valuable for us to have him. That's the key question for the second half of the season, is how Green is going to integrate himself in, and is he going to mess with the chemistry? Is he going to mess with the flow? Is he going to mess with anything? Early returns, like the one game he played earlier in the season before he got hurt again, seemed to say he wouldn't hurt the flow.
I agree.
Tonight was a win so far. He's played 2 games and won both of them. We'll see, but he's potentially the type that could turn us into the 6th seed into the 3rd seed, basically, in this type of deal where we get up there and have a shot to make some noise in the playoffs.
I mean, honestly, like I think 4th is not even insane anymore because of when you look at injuries. And I mean, we're right there with getting top 3. That would take, I think, some crazy win streaks, but
like 8th to 4th is going to be a win total difference of how many wins? 3, 5,
5 to 6, maybe.
Like, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be that big of a gap right there.
Yeah. And so you look at some of those. We've stolen a couple games for sure. We've also lost a couple that we should have won. So, we're right there.
Also, Chris,
when you mentioned the fact we've gone through the gauntlet. We had a gauntlet of a schedule, and yet here we are. And the season opens up to now where we play a little bit of an easier schedule. And like I said earlier, we've beaten teams that we should beat. And so if it's a losing record, we've beaten them for the most part this season. I can't remember the exact thing, but I think we have like 3 total losses against teams under 500.
I was going to say, how many games do you have against the Eastern Conference remaining?
11 now. As of a couple weeks ago, it was like 4. But they had this East Coast road trip where we finally started playing some of the East teams. Because for a while, we had played like 33 of 35 games against the West or something.
It's wild. Looking at what you brought up here on the standings in the Eastern Conference, there are 3 teams that are better than 500 in the last 10.
Yeah, it's bad.
It fucking sucks. There's a bunch of 5 and 5s and 4 and 6s in there.
But use the East as an example too, about just how sometimes I'm confused. Like, we talked about the Knicks. The Celtics lost Tatum for most of the year. We'll see if he comes back. He hasn't played yet. If he's going to at all. Lost Porzingis, lost Drew Holiday. They're second in the East.
Yeah.
They have a plus 6.7 differential. It's not even like they're fluking their way to that spot right now. And then on the other side, look at Cleveland. They returned everybody except Ty Jerome, who was a good 6th man of the year candidate last year. But the step down from him to Lonzo Ball isn't so steep to explain them going from a 65-win team to already losing more games than they did last season.
And so, they have another key loss. I don't know if I'm prepared to say that it's responsible, but Jordan Ott, is that? I mean, when you look at things.
That's what I said to Chris earlier today. I was like, one team gets really good hiring said coach, and the team who loses him goes down. Well, he might be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he might know what he's doing here.
Yeah.
It's a weird time in the NBA, and we talked in a couple other podcasts, a year and 2 years ago, about how it was a shocking amount of parity. We've had 7 different champions in 7 seasons. We've talked about all that. So I guess this is just the pendulum swinging even further in that direction. We're not just seeing it at the top now. we're seeing it at multiple levels throughout the league. I don't know if I could have ever. I know I picked the lowest win total of the three of us. I could not have predicted all of this. Not just the Suns, but like there's some crazy stuff happening this season.
I mean, Detroit being that high is crazy. They were. Where'd they end last year?
45 wins.
That's what I thought. In the East, so that's like even worse. Now they're 10 losses the whole year.
I can actually look. Let's
doesn't
see.
it point
44.
to when you pull that up doesn't it point really to the importance of coaching in the NBA now? Because how many different iterations of the Miami Heat have been around, and how many times has the Miami Heat made the playoffs with Spoelstra? Like, if you show the value of coaching, Spoelstra is probably prime example of that because he's fantastic. He's given whatever roster.
He's unbelievable as a head coach. It's crazy that that guy of all people is, to me, like genuinely like an all-time, like a Hall of Fame all-time.
Longest tenured in all sports now.
It's fucking wild.
And there's talk from some, very few, to be fair, Heat fans about like, oh, well, this, that. It's like, you see how bad Bam Adebayo's been this season? Like, you're going to hang that on Spoelstra's neck? I mean, they've both been there for a few years now. Spoelstra a little longer than that, and you're going to turn on him now? But that's just the culture.
Yeah.
It's a miracle if you make it 5 years coaching somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It's truly a miracle, which, this is way cart before ahead of the horse. It makes you wonder, like, if Ott can be the type that hangs around for a long time, which I hope so, because it's really nice as a sports fan not having all of your fan base saying, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach. I hate that part of sports. Yeah, so
agreed.
I hope he can. I really hope he can.
And yet maybe we should have fired Bud sooner. So,
but I never hired him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, I think we could have kept Vogel. I do think we were right in firing Bud. It actually seems like it was not a good locker room. But yeah, I hope we keep on. All roads led us here. And
yeah, like in hindsight, you probably shouldn't have fired Vogel. But if this is where you're at now, and you were going to have to break down the team, you're much better off with a first-time head coach with this type of roster than like having Vogel. If you had blown up the team and Vogel was still your coach and he's coaching this roster, it's like, well, what's kind of the point now?
Well, and Dave, when we win the championship this year and you look at our roster and you think, well, I mean, look at all the dead money that's still on it. We're only going to get better. That's pretty cool.
Oh, when we win the championship this year. Man, I just want to see it one time before I die. That's all I really
we're not going to win the championship. But I will say it's more possible like these days than it was like 20 years ago to all the stuff we were talking about.
A couple more ACLs to blow.
Also true, actually.
Like, let's get 5 more ACLs and you have a chance.
Like, if we get, with the defense being what it is, if we get hot at the right time, anything can happen. Whereas in the past, it was like, there literally was no way because our defense was just bad.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't shore it up. There's nothing that's you can't get hot on defense.
That's the thing. The thing I keep going back to is that we're still in the same conference as the Thunder.
Yeah.
And I know I picked the Nuggets to beat them to get to the NBA Finals, but whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. The point is, like, I've seen a few of our fans getting a little bit too excited, and I don't want to begrudge them that excitement, but it's like, man, we could beat anybody. We could beat OKC. It's like, we beat them once.
One game.
They beat us by 50. They handed us a 50-piece.
Are you saying a 7-game series is a lot different?
It turns out it's harder to win 4 times against a team as good as the Thunder. And I know I'm the one who was like, well, 2 teams took them to 7 last year. It's like, I'm just saying it's not so simple as like, well, the Suns have shown a spark. They're going to win it all now. And you're like, no, they're not going to win it all now.
Enjoying the ride to like a 4 or 5 type seed. And
if we get the 4 seed, if we're not in the play-in, do you know what a huge achievement that is?
Just enjoy the ride of being able to do that while not having to like partially hate watch your team. Because again, you hate watch them being like, wow, we're the fucking 6th seed with this roster. This is bullshit. But this year, you're going to be like, we're the 6th seed. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is full circle. Like, enjoy the regular season right now. We're playing well right now. It's fun to watch right now. Stop looking ahead to April when we don't know what the hell's going to happen between now and then. Just enjoy it now.
And that's what I started the show by saying, like, look, winning a championship, it's awesome as like a fan, and it's easy for me to fucking talk because my teams have been lucky and successful.
I've done it. I've actually done it.
And but like, truthfully though, like the spirit of going day in and day out and watching a regular season game in the middle of being like, this is fucking awesome. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like excited to sit down and watch it is a fun thing. And if things keep going right the way you guys are going, in 3 years, you might be back to where you were 4 years ago. And you're back to 1 or 2 seed is what we need. We expect to make the Western Conference Finals. Like that type of stuff. It's still fun in its own right, but it just adds more anxiety to fandom as opposed to sheer joy of just watching fucking games.
And it's such a different going to the games and having to be like, well, at least we're in the ambiance and the seats are good and what, like finding other things to enjoy. This year we go, I've never seen Maisie so excited about a game.
Yeah.
And like, because the effort is there.
Yeah.
If we had lost the OKC game that we miraculously won, so with the cherry on top, it was a little bit better. Had we lost it, I still would have said that was maybe the best game I've ever been to. Because we fought and the effort was there and it felt like a 12-round boxing match. It was just so incredible to behold in person, you know?
Again, I haven't watched your guys' team very much, but the way you guys have talked about them, there's an air of like unpredictability about it. Because it's like you go to a game where Durant, Booker, and all these guys are on the thing. It's like, you know what's going to happen. He's going to take X number of shots. He's going to take X number of shots. There's kind of some like repetition where
they're going to have 3 turnovers just trying to get the ball across half court.
Like, you know this shit's going to happen. And then you have this where it's like, you have all these guys shooting from outside. You don't know who's going to step up. You don't know who's might hit a big shot. There is some genuine excitement to that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Sure. And genuine excitement. And also there's excitement and also joy that comes from it, because if you see one person repeatedly come through, that's amazing in its own sense. When you see a group of people come through, there's something even more to that, because it's kind of the sum is more than the sum is more than the parts type of deal, which is just human nature.
I'll jump back to college sports to piss Sean off. That's like the epitome of like the Cinderella stuff in March Madness. It's like, oh shit, it's this mid-major school that won 30 games in their conference because they've all been playing together for so long, which doesn't really happen anymore. But it's like a senior laden class. It's like, that was the fun of those 14 seeds making the Elite Eight. You're like, oh shit, that's a real genuine team that feeds off each other, blah, 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 all that type of crap. And that's why we like it. That's why we get excited for those type of weird runs in March Madness, because it gets put on display nationally more so than watching random conference games.
We replaced Kevin Durant in the aggregate, Chris.
I think so.
Exactly.
The money ball.
Last thing I thought of, by the way, as we wrap up, I think our switchability is key.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to pin every single failure last year on Tyus Jones, but you couldn't switch him on.
Easy to is though, isn't it?
Couldn't switch him on anything. Nurkic was not especially switchable. I don't know what you would do with Mason Plumlee. And these are, those guys are not the core of our team. A lot of those other issues stem from Bradley Beal, etc. But as I'm thinking back to what makes this team different, it's because they put Oso at the 5 in the stretch, and they can switch everything. So they run a bunch of multiple ball screens or handoffs around the top of the key, and you just switch. And again, that's what OKC is doing to great success. You need switchable, lengthy defenders. The Suns have that now, and more importantly, they're playing Colin Gillespie and not Tyus Jones. So,
that's huge. Tyus Jones' advanced metrics were
horrendous,
worst in the NBA.
Grotesque.
It was really, really bad. And then our center rotation also, let's not forget, worse in the NBA. There's something about building trust, and it's not just from success. I think for me in sports, it's when I wanted us to do a thing and the front office didn't do that and then found success. And I'm like, okay, you know more than I do. And for me, it really illustrates things like Chris Paul. I was like, man, I don't know why we didn't sign Chris Paul. He could have at least been a stabilizer in the backcourt, bring the ball up. And no, we need that switchability. We're going to come with effort and defense and speed in certain areas. And he just doesn't fit that bill anymore. And they were right. And I was wrong. And so now I've I trust you guys again. I'm glad we didn't get Chris Paul.
They're professionals for a reason in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And also, you need not only need the speed and the switchability, you wouldn't have Colin Gillespie doing what he's doing right now if you had Chris Paul on this roster, right?
Yeah.
Because Chris Paul would be taking his minutes. And it's weird to say, I'd rather have Colin Gillespie than Chris Paul, but the same thing happened in 2010 where it turned out that Channing Frye was a much better player for our team than Shaquille O'Neal. Say that sentence, right? Yet it was true on that team.
And by the way, last point, this is with nothing out of any of our picks from this year. And maybe none of them will pan out, but Fleming has barely played, and Malawak and Brea even less than that. They look like they have some work to do, those two in particular. But we were thinking, well, maybe if one of them did something unexpected and took a leap, this is with zero contribution from them so far. If any of them pop, not even this season, just any future season, that would definitely go a long way. So, I don't fully understand it. We didn't even say the name Jamari Bouye.
Who's also playing great.
shockingly good for a guy I had never heard of before this season.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw him out there before we wrap up. But look, it's been enjoyable. Again, the expectations sometimes are the thief of joy. I think it's supposed to be comparison, but in this case, we didn't have any expectations coming in. They've super exceeded those already, and it seems like that will continue. We'll check in with them again, probably coming up to the playoffs. It may be a while before we do another Suns cast, but it's nice just to be talking about them and not hate myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and your point is so funny.
Too.
No one saw any of this coming. When they do the starter movies, these big budget things, and you have Malowich taking up, pretty decent percentage of that screen. I think Gillespie shows up for a second somewhere. And then he pans out. Gillespie's a starter, huge part of the team. Malowich can't get on the floor. So that kind of stuff is funny, just to show even our media team had no clue what our success was going to be this year.
Yep.
That is the end of the show. Next week, I'm going to try a new game show-esque concept, a kind of a trivia thing that should be easy for folks who are watching or listening to play along as well. Something that the boys here have no idea about, but it should cater a little bit to both pop culture and sports.
Not official towards our standings.
No, this is a separate thing that I think will probably stay separate, but could be folded in depending on how it goes.
I'll make sure.
I'm optimistic about it, though. I think it's a decent premise that it's not just going to be about your knowledge of what's best. Let's put it that way. It's going to be about some fringe stuff as well. I'm excited for it, so come check that out next week. Again, it'll be something you can play along with as well. Not live like that one trivia thing, but you know what I mean. We will also have a trivia night in February. We have a couple reviews that we might want to catch up on. Lots of stuff ahead of us. So thank you as always for listening or watching. You can find us at youtube.com/@grayareaslive or grayareas.live for archives of 15 years almost of stuff that we've done. We'll see you next week.